Hello and welcome to the end of quarter two 2024. Incredible. And today our topic is all about communication as an executive for leadership success. And this is our second masterclass for the year. And hopefully you've all seen our promotions and you've had the opportunity to prepare yourself. We're going to go through a lot of material today, so please get a notepad ready, have some way of refreshing, staying energized as we go through this 90-minute session. We will take a break in the middle. We'll have a 5-minute refresher, but there's a lot of material to get through. So let's get underway with everything as quickly as possible. And hopefully everyone had the opportunity to obtain your free copy of the ebook, The Communicative Leader. This is really what we offer with every masterclass. We give a free ebook at the beginning. It sets us up as a primer, if you like, for the topic of the day. And in this case, we're really going to be talking about a whole raft of different topics that round out our conversation around communication. As you've been aware, we've been talking about communication now for, some time, a quarter of this year in actual fact, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. But as it says on the screen, communication as it stands has to be the number one most used skill of leaders. Would you agree? For me, this is a given. We communicate in everything we do, whether it's verbal, okay. It's not always verbal, but our non-verbal communication is just as powerful. And the way that we communicate is really what differentiates us. And we're going to be covering the final topics that distinguish that as we go through our masterclass today, starting with, if you recall, the last 2 months prior to June. So back in April, we started with what we call the ultimate 3-day challenge. Now, what we spoke about in that challenge was perhaps the most critical skill under the umbrella of communication that any leader can acquire, and that's storytelling. We're so obsessed with getting this communication message out into the world. We've dedicated an entire quarter. So 3 days. Now, it's not 3 full days, of course, 90 minutes every day. And we're going to go into detail a little bit about what we covered in that 90 minutes in just a moment. But that was in April. So we set the scene in April with storytelling. We then moved into May, where we went, April was a challenge. That's what we call our challenge. So these are 90 minutes a day for whatever duration. In this case, 3 days. We have 2 days. We have 3, 4, 5-day challenges. Then we come to May. In May, we spoke about communication again, but this time as a virtual mastermind. So not a masterclass like today, a mastermind. Now, the difference with a mastermind is that we come together for 4 2-hour sessions and we go deep into some topics. And again, we're going to recap on what we've covered in just a moment. So that's where we've started this masterclass from. That's our baseline, if you like. April, the 3-day ultimate challenge. May, we had our communications as a core strength virtual mastermind. So with those two tucked under our belt in our toolkit, if you like, we're pretty much ready to get the play and get the storyline towards its finale. And to do that, today we're going to be looking at recapping on those April and May months, so storytelling as well as the core areas of focus. And then we're going to move into some new topics to round out this communication storyline. So we're going to talk about AI, so important in today's world. And in communication, it's no different. We need it in communication as much as we need it everywhere else. So that's what we're going to introduce. We're going to talk about how clarity and conciseness within our communication is enhanced through AI. And then, as you can see, we're going to talk also about a couple of things that you may not associate so much with communication. But as I said, communication is across everything we do. So when we show up, when we act as our authentic self, and we're looking to build trust and credibility, what we're really demonstrating is our signature presence. And the way that we do that, through the communication we use, the methods that we use through non-body, body, and a whole host of other ways of communicating, helps build that signature presence. And that's what one of the things we're going to be talking about as well today. Then we jump into the final topic, resilience in conversations. Now, you may be wondering, what the heck? Resilience in conversations. Well, we have to be honest with ourselves. We know that not every conversation we have is a bed of roses. We know that we're all unique, that we all have our difference of opinions. We think, we act, we behave differently. And therefore, we're going to find ourselves with difficult conversations, challenges, and maybe even conflicts. And so we want to introduce this concept of how do you stay resilient in that moment, in that situation where things aren't always so great. All right, so that's what we're going to be covering as we round out our 3 months long forte into communication. So let's start by recapping on our April 3-day ultimate challenge. What was it about? It was about learning 3 secrets to influencing challenge outcomes or change outcomes through the use of story. Now, everything we do is change, all right? So we use, in this case, we use real case studies to help tell the story that we're introducing through the challenge. And therefore, my comment you can see on the left-hand side here is that it's no secret. We absorb and understand information best when communicated through story. It's part of our evolutionary reality. And so this is why I said earlier that for a leader, learning how to be able to communicate through story is such a fundamental requirement that if you can't do it, you are really putting yourself behind the 8 ball right from the very beginning. All right. So please, 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 if you haven't done any work on storytelling, if you don't understand what we're talking about when we talk about communication through story, then do yourself a favor, find some books, find some courses, doesn't have to be ours, but find a way to learn how to become a better communicator through the use of story. This is not something that comes naturally to us, although we all know how to tell stories. We all know how to express ourselves when we're not focused on it. What we now need to learn how to do is how to bring that to the table when we want to engage, when we're consciously, intentionally looking to help our people, our team, our colleagues, those that we're surrounded with, even our family, when we're wanting to help them understand why and how and what, then stories are so foundational that we really need to learn how to use them. All right, so let's have a quick look at what we covered during this 3-day ultimate challenge. Remember, 90 minutes per day, so it's not a lot of time. These challenges are very immersive, they're very intense. We give you a lot of material. We provide you with things that I'll show you in a moment that help you, but it still requires that you really apply yourself to make it worthwhile. All right, so as I mentioned, we start with a real case study. And in this case, we had Maria. Maria was recently promoted into a sales role, and we use her case to demonstrate how she was able to use story and learn about story and apply storytelling as part of her change initiative to improve the company's position and overcome some of the sales challenges they were facing. All right. Now, what we do during each of our challenges is we give you a workbook. Within the workbook, depending on, you can either join for free or you can sign up as a VIP. If you sign up as a VIP, you pay a very modest amount of money depending on the number of days. So this was a 3-day challenge, so therefore you would pay $39 to join as a VIP. And with that, you get a whole host of additional things that you don't receive when you join for free. Now, having said that, you still get a whole host of things when you join for free. So it's not as though you must join as a VIP to get the value out of these challenges. You can join for free and go through the challenge quite adequately. It's just if you want to go deeper, you join as a VIP. So as you can see on the screen, this is Maria. We provide you, when you register with, or actually even before you register, we provide you with a freebie combo pack, which includes 3 videos and a ebook. All right, now they're primers, as always, to the main event, the main topic, in this case, the challenge. So they give you a good understanding. They give you some additional information that we don't cover during the challenge. So it's an add-on value plus, all right? But they prepare you for the direction you're going. And then we come to the main event, the 3-day challenge. And during the challenge, what you can see in the small 4 boxes here, you can't really see it clearly, I know, but this is talking about, these are the things that we cover. So we introduce you to the power of storytelling. We talk about the why, what, and how of storytelling. We introduce how to create team personas so that you really understand the people you're communicating with and can connect with them deeper. And then we bring you into the main portion of it, which is really helping you to build that story. So we give you a model. Now there's many different models that we introduce, but the one that we chose for simplicity, given we only have 90 minutes, is we choose the 3-act model. And then we help you build your own story for a real change scenario that you're looking to do in the future. So that's the framework of what we do. Then if we go a little bit deeper and we look at what do you get as we go through each day? Well, inside the workbook that you receive, depending if you join for free or you join as a VIP, if you join as a VIP, you get the theory behind everything as well as the exercises and the homework. If you join for free, you just get an introduction to the case study, the exercises, and the homework. So here's an example of one page coming out of the workbook. This is where you, and the workbooks are all editable. So as you go through them, you can actually put this directly into the workbook. You don't have to print it out. So you can keep the workbook. You can really use it as a valuable tool in the future. So in here, we showed Maria how to build her story, how to use the 3-act model or process to really build her story through setup, through the conversation, and then through the resolution, right? And that's the same approach that you then take into when you're talking to your team, when you're introducing that change initiative, all right? So just a quick look at what we're doing with the April Ultimate Change Story Challenge. Now, if you didn't sign up for it, we want everyone to be successful. So if you didn't sign up for it and you want to read more about it, you see the link on the bottom of the screen on the left-hand side. That's the link that will take you to that challenge page. Now, if you go to that page, you'll find that you can still register for the freebie combo pack. So you can still get that. I shouldn't tell you that, but you can still get that. And if you wish to, you can also go and register for future challenges by putting your name down so that you'll be notified in advance when the next challenge is due to come. All right, so that's what we covered. So we covered communication through the art of storytelling in our first April challenge, right? Then from April, we moved into May. And in May, I'm just going to take myself off the screen here so that you can read the screen properly. But in May, we moved into our virtual mastermind. And the mastermind itself is called Communication as a Core Strength. Now, in this mastermind, as with all of our products and all of our masterminds in particular, you get an insane amount of money for the price you pay. Each of our masterminds, we have 5 of them, each costs you $579 US dollars. You can see a picture on the top right of the package that you get. Now, not only do you get a wealth of material, as well as live coaching, as well as access to the mastermind.com platform where the program itself is contained, and all of the detail within the content, etc., in addition to the workbooks and the articles and the videos and the free giveaways. Again, with this, you get a free combo pack at the beginning, 3 videos and an ebook. That's for free. You don't have to even register for this program. That's all free. But you can see just as an example. Now, in this particular mastermind's case, we introduce 8 areas or 8, let's say, fields where you need to be strong as a communicator. The first 4, we give you material on to introduce these topics. The second 4 are what we cover during the 4 2-hour sessions. So the first 4 you can see on the bottom right of your screen: listening with empathy, curious questioning, artful delegation, and gracefully receiving feedback. So that's the lead in. We have 4 short videos that support that. We have articles that you can read that support that, that prepare you to then come into the mastermind virtually with 20 or 19 other people. We only have 20 people in each class so that we can engage fully. And then you spend 2 hours per session. We have 3 different scheduled programs so that we can offer the program in different time frames and to suit different time zones. So we have one example is we do it all in one day. We start at 8 a.m., we finish at 6 p.m., and we cover the 4 sessions. Another example is we do 2 sessions a day over 2 days. And the third one is that we do 1 session per evening over 4 evenings. All right. So we're trying to give people the opportunity, depending on where you are, depending on your own work schedule, to be able to join these masterminds. All right. But as you can see, there's an inordinate amount of material that you get. There is even more inside the program itself that sits on the mastermind.com. And at the end of it, of course, you have this beautifully crafted workbook, as well as a number of other workbooks that we provide. You have a whole series of mastermind fun fact sheets. You have refresher videos that cover the 4 topics again. You have a list of takeaway actions. You have group coaching calls. You have post-workshop, as well as the takeaways and the coaching call. You have 3 challenges that you get to work through that ensure that you put this into practice. So, there's so much to get out of each one of these that is just incredible. I'm passionate about it. I put a lot of my time and effort into it, but that's what it's all about. All right, so let's have a look inside what this particular mastermind was all about. And as you can see, pre-workshop, 4 sessions, post-workshop. Now, this is just these pictures you can see are from the workbook itself. So you start to get a feel for just how beautifully crafted and designed the material is that goes with this. So in the pre-workshop, there's, as I said, 4 videos you get to look at on those previous 4 topics. There are articles you read. There's even an exercise. We give you a priming for the event guidebook that helps you prepare yourself 15 minutes before the start of each session or before the start of the event. We have a pre-event live virtual kickoff call just to make sure everything's working from your end and our end, that you get the opportunity to meet the facilitator, you get the opportunity to at least hear and say hello to the other 19 participants. So that's your pre-workshop. You have all the material, you've already logged into mastermind.com, you started to work through the program. Then we come to the event itself, session 1, and the first thing we talk about is clear and concise written prose. Then we move to session 2, which is non-verbal bodily expression. Session 3, vocal controls. Session 4, applaudable presentations. And then post-workshop, as I mentioned already, we do the challenge, you have the takeaways, and we have a wrap-up group coaching call. Plus you have the 4 refresher videos, all lumped together within the mastermind.com program. All right, so that's a quick indication of the content that we cover, but then there's what's it look like inside that workbook? And here's just a whole compilation of different page captures that I put together. We do hot seat pitches, we do breakout sessions, we do group discussions, we do quiz, we have exercises, we have homework, we have a whole raft of things. And again, if you look bottom right corner, you'll see we have the link that if you want to go to our website page, learn more about it. And you can also go on and register for the next mastermind coming up, which happens to be about facilitation mastery, another core skill for leaders. So hopefully you start to get a feel for what we do and how we do it. All right. It's such a valuable resource. It's such an engaging, immersive experience that it sticks with you for life. Now, not only do you get this material, but you get to review it as often as you would like, because you have lifelong access. Yeah, that's aside from a host of other things that we give you, like our Mastermind for Executives Facebook alumni the group you can join for networking purposes. It's besides our 100% money back 30-day guarantee, etc., etc. So it truly is quite phenomenal. All right, so hopefully that's given you a quick introduction, a quick summary of what it is that's available when you join up and you do either the challenge or the mastermind itself. And in this case, we're focusing for this whole quarter, April, May, June, we're focusing Q2 on communication. All right, so with that said, let's move into looking at today and what we're going to be covering. So as you can see in red, we're here talking about AI's role in helping you communicate clearly, concisely, you could even say completely, by using this new technology, as it says, to be your best friend. All right. So it's really something special. After this topic, we're going to take a 5-minute break, by the way, because we're well into the session. We'll be about 45 minutes in. So we're going to take a 5-minute break before we come back and jump into the final two topics. So with that said, let's get started, shall we? All right. So I'm not sure if I can come back on the screen. Maybe I can. Let's see if I'm back. It didn't seem to work. There we go. All right. So we're going to be talking about AI. I like my diagram. First up, however, I want to just focus a little bit on talking about why clear and concise communication for leadership is so crucial. And for me, it's much more than just words. It's really about making impact. Clear communication ensures everyone knows what's expected and how their effort contributes to that bigger picture, which for me is ever so important. When leaders articulate their thoughts so clearly, teams can act swiftly, decisively, and it reduces confusion and ensures everyone's on the same page, which is what we're all about, right? So efficient communication in the end saves time, it saves resources, it aligns teams around common goals. It helps us make collaboration even smoother and more effective. And then, of course, there's trust. And isn't trust everything? Clear communication helps us build trust because it shows transparency. It really illustrates integrity. And when leaders can communicate openly and honestly, they earn respect. They earn credibility from their teams, from their colleagues, from their stakeholders in general. Leaders who can communicate clearly are seen as reliable. They're seen as competent. They inspire confidence in their decisions and their actions. And of course, the outcome is that this boosts morale and it strengthens the team unity. So clear and concise communication isn't just a skill, it's a leadership superpower. It enhances decision-making, it aligns teams, it fosters trust and credibility. Essentially, all of these are elements for effective leadership in any organization. So I'll get down off my soapbox, but that's the reason why I believe concise and clear communication is essential. All right, so with that said, let's dive into how AI is shaking things up in the modern communication world. It's pretty fascinating stuff. And we look at this slide and it takes us from the basic spell checkers as part of our evolution to things like virtual assistants with Siri and Alexa. Using AI in a communication way has come such a long way. You know, you can read the list. I'm not going to go through all the items in the list, but AI-powered writing assistants like Grammarly, Hemingway Editor. Yeah. Now, if you look at my grey hair, and these are all household names for me. Imagine what they're like for the Gen Z, the millennials, right? ChatGPT, our newest, greatest tool that's hit the scenes in the last 12, 18 months. These are game changers. They provide real-time grammar correction, style suggestions, even adjust the tone of your writing. Right? For me, I can tell you these are a gift from the heavens. They're tools that offer immediate feedback, reducing my errors, improving readability for others as we go, right, on the fly. We don't have to spend hours and hours, countless hours wasted trying to edit things anymore, right? We still have to be cognizant. We still have to be mindful and go through it and make sure it's correct. But it saves us so much time. And the best thing, it's not just for writing, it's revolutionizing speech, presentation preparation. Gosh, the list just goes on. Tools like Microsoft PowerPoint, for heaven's sake, and the presenter coach that's now built in. Pitch Vantage, which offers practice sessions and feedback on pacing and tone and clarity. Right? These things help speakers, presenters hone their skills, identify ways that they can engage the audiences more effectively. Have you ever heard of natural language processing? When I first was reading about it, it said NLP. Well, I know NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. Well, this is natural language processing, something different again. It's a game changer in terms of content summaries, right? Through this methodology, it's powered by tools like ChatGPT-4, IBM Watson, and I'm sure there's a whole host of others that I don't know about. And we can create concise summaries and exact key points for lengthy documents. It really helps us cut through the verbosity, making information more digestible and accessible. AI, for me, I almost said IA. AI, for me, also is a fantastic tool for emails and correspondence management. Now, again, there's a number of tools out there. I don't know them all. Boomerang Respondable is one, Crystal is another. These give us a means of analyzing the tone, and they suggest responses and improve our clarity of our emails, our communication. They streamline the email management process. They enhance communication effectiveness. They save us time for sure, and they reduce misunderstandings. All right. And then, of course, who can forget the AI role in feedback and continuous improvement? Tools like Gong and Chorus, these tools help us record and analyze our conversations. Otter is another one, right? Providing valuable feedback to refine communication skills. They identify areas where we can improve. They help, groups, teams, and leaders in particular enhance our interaction, our collaboration. AI is just revolutionizing how we communicate, making it clearer, making it more effective, making it more efficient, and it's tailored to our needs. I just can't say enough about how this transition that we're going through in this moment in history is so powerful and useful if we learn how to harness it. So it's not just about technology, it's about transforming the way that we connect as leaders and collaborate through our communication. We can only imagine what's still to come as technology explodes, right? Exponentially changes almost hourly at the moment, day by day for sure. As a leader, you really, truly need to be engaging and leveraging, learning how to leverage from it. All right, so enough of my ranting. Let's have a look at a case study. Now, I want to introduce this case study here. This is from one of our clients, so I'm not going to talk about who they are and their name, but just to help you understand the potential impact AI could have for you. So imagine you're this company. As I step through the scenario, it'll probably make it more lifelike. It'll probably help you to glean and understand better. Let me just get myself off the screen so you can see the whole screen. All right, so this company was faced with some serious communication challenges. The company itself deals with huge, exorbitant amount of information overload, you might say, complex technical language, and they're always stretched for time. They're tight on time. So their leaders were finding it extremely tough to get their messages across clearly so that their teams could function effectively and stay aligned as they did what they had to do. So to tackle this, we worked with them to explore how they could utilize AI-powered tools. right? Now, the first one, or a couple that we introduced, were in areas to help them speed up their workflows. So we turned to things like Grammarly and the Hemingway editor, right, to help them. These tools turned out to be game changers for them. What we found was they were spending an enormous amount of time in preparing their material, and these tools really helped them to make sure that the quality of that material they were turning out, was grammarly correct, was pronounced, and punctuality wise, everything to do with proper, correct English. And it was done in real time. So they get style improvement suggestions. They get suggestions on how to craft their emails, their reports, their presentations, so that they're clearer, they're concise, right? And then from there, we moved into showing them how they could use that presenter coach in their PPTs with the Microsoft PowerPoint. This tool gave them a means of getting immediate feedback on how they were delivering their presentations. Was the pacing correct? Was the tone that they were using in presenting and the way they were putting the text on the screen, did it provide the clarity? Did it provide the simplicity and convey the message? This really helped them to refine not only their public speaking, but also to engage their teams more effectively during the meetings. And we all know that is a huge, huge challenge. All right, so then we looked at how can we analyze their meetings and their conversations, and we started to use tools like Gong and Chorus. All right, now, as I said, there's a lot of other tools out there that you could engage with. I'm just using those two because they're the ones that I'm familiar with, but for sure, explore the others that are out there. Now, these tools help them record and analyze the discussions. They offered insights and feedback on how they were communicating. They pinpointed areas where they could make improvements, both in their meetings, as well as their presentations. They also improved productivity, their collaboration, a whole host of things. And when you think about all these things that I've just introduced, it's quite impressive, right? So they've gone from being very operationally savvy to now polishing their area of communications, right? Different areas of communication through the use of AI. And as a result, we see things like some of the metrics that we monitored, productivity, a 25% increase in meeting efficiency, and time spent drafting and revising emails and reports was reduced by 20%. The engagement factor, employee engagement is something that we all wish we had the Holy Grail to. They improved by 30% in these areas of communication, right? So people started actively participating. Wow, wouldn't that be nice? Clarity-wise, requests for additional clarity dropped by 40%. Misunderstandings were decreased by 35%. Can't you imagine the impact that all of these things alone, singularly, could have? Imagine them collectively. Then we looked at conciseness, and they managed to reduce the average length of email and reports by 50%. So time on both ends, time for the leader to write, time for the reader to spend reading and trying to decipher and absorb, right? Presentations became more concise. Understanding was better. Retention was better. Incredible, right? Just by the use of AI to help you. So hopefully from this simple case, you can start to see that implementing AI tools can really transform how you communicate more effectively. Yeah? So we wanted to enhance clarity and conciseness. You now not only have that improved productivity and engagement, but you also strengthened overall communication effectiveness. And isn't that what it's all about? So we were pretty excited by the outcome. This is a great example, but why not do it yourself? So let's have a look at some practical tips for you. And what I've attempted to do by showcasing here this AI potential is to set a baseline for you. What is clear to us, at least, is that AI isn't a fad. It's not going away anytime soon, and it's going, in our opinion at least, it's going to evolve at breakneck speed. It is already, and we believe it's going to continue. And therefore, as leaders, if you want to stay current, and if this specific topic on how to become the communicator that creates value rather than rely solely on how things have been done in the past, then we suggest that you start to get acquainted with the AI tools available to you. You can see the tips on the screen. Take a screen capture if you desire, or you can go back and watch this video over and over, but don't allow yourself to fade into oblivion, please. All right, so team, we're going to take a 5-minute break. We're going to, during that time, allow yourself to refresh and reset. So at this point, maybe you've got some doubts. Maybe you're thinking to yourself, yeah, that's all good, but I don't have the time to go out. I'm not allowed to use all these tools in my work. Well, how can you change your mindset? How can you make these things a possibility? So let's take a 5-minute break. It's now, at least for me, the top of the hour. We'll be back in 5 minutes. So please refresh, get a new drink, get some stretch, and we'll see you back shortly. All right, well, welcome back. Welcome back. And I hope you really took that in. I hope that it was an opportunity for you to get your head around what we just mentioned about AI and some of the improvements and the productivity gains, and just as a leader, how you can become more effective as a leader just through the use of using AI as a supporting function. Now we're moving on to one of my favorite topics, which is signature presence. I'm going to jump straight into it because this is such an interesting topic. I don't want to spoil it by dragging it on, but we're really looking at how we can continue to build, how we can, as leaders, show up. All right, so let's have a look. All right, for me, it's a fascinating topic, at least. And when I first learned about signature presence, I wasn't really sure what it was all about. So what we're talking about is how you uniquely blend your behavior, your communication style, and your leadership qualities to stand out and leave a lasting impression. It's about showing confidence, authenticity, authority, and in your own way so that you make it memorable and influential. Now, for me, it's not just about what I say, it's about how I say it, how I carry myself, and how I can connect with others. And we break that down into areas that demonstrate what makes up presence. We've got 7 of those elements. Let me just bring myself back on the screen here. Sorry, I was just thinking, why aren't I on the screen? So the 7 different elements that we've identified that really identify signature presence. The first is authenticity. So being genuine as a leader is really key. And I'm going to talk in first person here. I make sure that consistency between my words and my actions helps build the trust with the team, with my colleagues, with all of my stakeholders. That's what I endeavor to do. Do I always succeed? No, but that's what I endeavor. So that's a strong part of signature presence. Secondly, we have confidence. And My aim is to be decisive, self-assured with my decisions and my communications, and therefore I try and speak clearly with conviction, making sure that my message is resonating and hopefully inspiring confidence. Right? Another one is communication style. I focus on being clear and concise. It probably drives many of you crazy because it's slower. However, my wife speaks at a million miles an hour, and for her, that's her communication style. So that's how she communicates. Um, I find your style is how you create impact, whether it's in meetings or presentations. Um, what I'm aiming to do is I want to try and engage and motivate others. All right, I'm not sure I always succeed, but that's my aim. Emotional intelligence is something I talk a lot about. We do a lot of this in our training programs. It's really about understanding my own emotions, self-awareness, self-regulation, as well as being able to empathize with others, which is really, really crucial as a leader. And it helps you connect on a deeper level, as well as navigate the challenging situations. And really, if you are highly empathetic and emotionally intelligent, then you can do it with empathy. All right. Another of the 7 is your body language, those non-verbal cues, and these matter so much. There's studies out there that we won't go into now, but that demonstrate the value and the importance on non-verbal cues. And be assured that even when you don't know, your team are watching, right? So just because you're not connected with them in that moment doesn't mean they're not seeing how you're behaving. So please start to learn and be aware of your body language. Now, when you are in connection with people, eye contact, posture, expressive gestures, these are all factors that play a part. Yeah, your facial expressions, your hand usage, the way that you lean in, you lean back, you cross your arms, you cross your legs, you look at the ground, you make eye contact. These are all body language. Then the last 2 are, we have vision and purpose, and then we have consistency. So sharing vision and making sure it's clear can really help inspire other people. And if you do it properly, you can then extend that to purpose. So creating meaning and a sense of purpose for people is crucial. So it's about rallying everyone around, having common goals, motivating them, and achieving the greatness that the team the collective genius is capable of. And then the final one, consistency, being reliable in how we act and how we make decisions is crucial. It's vital. It builds trust over time, and it creates a stable environment where everyone really knows what to expect from you. So signature presence is really about honing these qualities and adapting them to different situations. And, for me, it's about making a positive impact through being authentic and a purposeful leader, because I want to leave that lasting impression with those that I'm engaging with. If it's my team, I want to inspire. If it's my colleagues, I want to engage. If it's my bosses, I want to impress. Right? So depending on who it is, if it's our stakeholders, then I want to create that trust and that credibility and that belief. So it's extremely important. So my signature presence shows up in many, many different ways. So that's just an introduction. Let's have a look at why it's so important. We've already touched on some of them, but let's go over it and give you a little bit of a deeper starting point. So what's the importance, first up, of signature presence? Why it matters so much? As you can see on the screen, 3 different suggestions: influence and persuasion. So I'm going to get rid of myself again because I can see I'm cutting off some of the text. But influence and persuasion. So when you've got a strong signature presence, you can inspire and sway your team and your stakeholders. It really helps get people on board with your ideas and lead them confidently. Lead them in a way that they want to follow, they want to believe, they want to engage. All right. So influence and persuasion, very important. Trust, credibility. You know, if you're true to yourself, then as you're true to yourself, you show that confidence and it builds the trust. And it lets the trust shine through in our leadership, or at least it opens that corridor, maybe is a better way of saying it, for people to feel that they can trust you. People want to believe that the person that they're following, the person they're being asked to lead, the person that they're employed to work under is trustworthy and credible. They want to believe in you. So signature presence is something that really helps define that in you as a leader. And then the third thing we talk about is organizational impact. So when you've honed your signature presence, you can really drive change within the organization itself. You motivate the team much better. You hit those big goals, hopefully, and you steer everyone in the right direction. So at its core, signature presence is about making lasting positive impacts through being who you are and how you connect with others. All right. So hopefully, hopefully that makes some sense. I can imagine you thinking, yeah, all good, Wayne, but give me some specific action to develop your signature presence. Sorry, just having a drink. It's very hot where I am. All right, so let's do that. Let's now talk about what you can actually do to build that strong presence. And you'll find it's really quite a lot that you can do. So, for instance, let's kick off. I think you can see the list on the right-hand side of the screen. I'm not going to go through all of them in detail, but you can see the list. Self-reflection, self-awareness, take some time, think about your strengths, your weaknesses, what really matters to you. Knowing yourself helps you lead more authentically. Then you've got continuously improve. All right, learn, improve, keep learning, keep growing. Read, go to workshops, get feedback. These things keep your skills sharp. They show how dedicated you are to others to get better, right? Practice authentic communication. Be real when you talk. Share your thoughts honestly and openly. It helps build that trust that we spoke about, and it shows people that they can rely on you. Yeah? Hone your public speaking skills. Speak confidently in an audience, in a meeting. Get out there and do some public speaking on stages. That's a real test for you. Toastmasters is a great example of doing that. Yeah. What it will do is it's going to boost your confidence and make your message much clearer. Practice your body language. We've spoken about that. Articulate your vision. We've spoken about that. Consistency. Be consistent in how you're acting in the decisions. Seek feedback. That's an interesting one. Feedback is your friend. It's not your enemy. Ask for it. Listen to it. Use it to get even better. It shows that you're open to growing and improving as a leader. And one that's really important in my mind, I have mentors and coaches. I've had mentors and coaches and advisors my whole career, anywhere between 4 and 5 at any one time across my 46-year career. Why? Because they support you. They support your growth. Now, in this case, to demonstrate your signature presence, to build that, what we're suggesting is you should start mentoring and coaching. Mentor people in your team, mentor your colleagues, mentor others in the organization. Share what you know. It shows you're invested in their success and it strengthens your leadership presence. Right? There's a lot of things we could talk about, team, but that gives you an idea. By working on these actions consistently, you build up your signature presence. It's about making real impact as a leader. And to do it, we go step by step. So don't expect to change overnight. You have to work hard. You have to work consistently. You have to be intentional and deliberate. But if you're able to stay the course, you will become a much better leader. You will be able to communicate through your signature presence like no one else. All right, I'm going to share a story with you, if you don't mind. These are all clients of ours, so we're using names that are not real, of course. In this case, I'm talking about Jane, not her real name, but a real story on how we worked with Jane to help her build her leadership presence, her signature presence. Now, Jane was a mid-level manager at a IT firm, and she was somehow stuck, but she knew that advancing in her career and inspiring others, right, inspiring those team members that she would have would require her to really hone in on that signature presence. So she started with introspection. She started reflecting, if you like, and looking inwardly, recognizing that her expertise was there, but also at the same time looking and acknowledging the gaps. And in particular, in this framework, we're talking about communication. So she found the gaps that she had in her communication and in public speaking. And then we sat together and we set some clear goals. So her aim was to improve as a public speaker, to forge stronger team relationships, and then really to grow that confidence, be able to exude confidence when she was presenting in meetings or in front of large groups. So the key steps that we identified together helped her towards achieving those aspirations she had. All right, so the first thing that she tackled was her fear of public speaking. She did this head on. She enrolled in public speaking course. Right, she joined Toastmasters, and each week she prepared and delivered speeches, sometimes to us, sometimes at Toastmasters, sometimes with her team, sometimes in meetings, but gradually, each time, week by week, that confidence grew, and she was able to articulate more and more persuasively. Right? So understanding the value of mentorship, Jane sought guidance, and we introduced her, of course, to this concept about becoming a mentor. So she then went and spoke with a senior leader that she knew within her organization that she believed had a strong presence. Right? And then so through that person's guidance with her and the regular meetings that they had, she focused her efforts on career development and improving her strategy development. All right. And both of these became invaluable in terms of her journey, but also in terms of gathering feedback from other people. Right? She prioritized emotional intelligence as another thing to work on, where she started to listen more deeply and empathize with her team and with her colleagues. Right? So she really focused on that, seeking feedback, right? As well as looking at how she could mentor. And then she realized that building strong relationships was also going to be crucial. So she acknowledged her team's contribution. She celebrated successes more. She addressed concerns proactively. She really worked at building that whole trust and cohesion, right? And over time, now this doesn't happen overnight. I want everyone to realize this doesn't happen overnight. This was a 6-month journey for Jane. This took a lot of input to help her. This took a lot of effort by her. But she was determined, and her efforts over time started to pay off. Her confidence soared, enabling her to lead discussions more effectively. Right? She improved her communication skills, and her emotional intelligence helped her inspire not only herself, her team, as well as other stakeholders. And then she was recognized for her enhanced leadership presence. She was promoted to that senior role. And now today she continues and she's mentoring others. Right? So Jane's story, and the reason we share it, it really helps to underscore the power of dedication, self-reflection, and ongoing learning. Right? But hopefully you can see how communication is woven throughout this whole thing by becoming more authentic through your signature presence. The non-verbal and verbal communication you have, your expressions, your gestures, the trust, the confidence, all of these things are impacted, really building together, right? And her story is a testament to the transformative potential of really cultivating that strong signature presence. All right, so hopefully that story gave you a little bit of insight to some of the things you can do on this journey to build that presence. Let's now finalize this particular signature presence by looking at some practical tips on how you can go about your own development, enhancement, growth, let's say, of your signature presence. First off, self-awareness and reflection. These are crucial. Please learn how to become more aware. Please learn how to pause and reflect. These will change your life so dramatically. It's important to regularly assess your strengths as well as those gaps and seek feedback. Talk to your peers, talk to your mentors, talk to your team, your boss. They're all going to be able to provide you with valuable insight on how others perceive you. Right? Now, I'm not going to go through all of these. Clear goal setting is another area, another key area that we work through with all of our clients. All right, continuous learning, we've spoken about. Emotional intelligence, we've spoken about. Improving your communication skills is vital for effective leadership and signature presence. Focus on clarity and adapt your communication style to different audiences. Really hone that communication. Building relationships, projecting confidence, seeking mentorship, leading by example is key, by the way. Yeah, one that we haven't touched so much on, but demonstrate consistency, act with integrity, and inspire others through the amount of dedication and commitment that you show through leading by example. Right? And lastly, resilience. Now, I'm not going to go deep on here because we're going to talk about resilience in our next topic, but it's an essential trait. So embrace the challenges as opportunities for development and growth. Remain flexible, and we'll go deeper into that. But if you consistently apply these tips, you can cultivate a super strong signature presence, and it's going to have both impact as well as create influence over those that follow and engage with you. So, team, that's a wrap on this topic. Hopefully, you're ready to enhance your signature presence, your leadership presence, and make a lasting impact. And by setting clear goals, seeking feedback, and investing in continuous learning, that's going to help you on that journey. All right. So I'm sweltering here. I'm withering away to nothing. Let's keep moving, therefore, onto our last topic, which is the last topic for this masterclass for today, the last topic in the 3-month-long communication journey. And today we're closing it out with the topic of resilience in conversation. Now, why resilience? And well, picture those challenging conversations. All right, we all know that life is not a bed of roses. We all know that there are times where we wish we could just rewind the clock and bypass that moment. There are times where we wish we could retract something we've said, or we didn't hear something somebody else said. Yeah? Communication is central to how we respond and resolve in those times. And learning how to be more resilient is foundational. So let's jump into it. Let's explore it a little bit further. I'd like to start here by talking about talking about communicating what it means to be resilient in conversation. So it's really about staying calm, being adaptable as well as constructive, even when things get tough. All right, let me just bring myself back on the screen. Keep forgetting to do that, I apologize. But even when things get tough, we have to be constructive. It's no use losing our cool and jumping down the other person's throat, because that doesn't solve anything. All right, we need to be resilient, which means stay calm, adapt to the situation, and then through maintaining your composure, the emotionally charged conversation has a habit of settling down itself. Right? So when you can learn how to stay composed, manage your emotions, then your reactions aren't exaggerated. They're not emotionally charged. They have a chance, at least, at being more rational. All right? And this in turn stops things from escalating, or helps stop. Not to say the other person will be as resilient, calm, and collected as you. However, at least one half of the situation will be. All right, then we have adaptability. Now, this means being flexible, being open to different perspectives and outcomes, and you're going to need to adjust your communication strategy based on how the conversation is progressing. So if you're like me, you like to do a lot of preparation. And whenever I go into a negotiation, I like to prepare, which means I have a strategy in my mind. And when the strategy or the conversation is not following my script, then I become less adaptable because I become too fixated on the direction it was meant to go. So what I've had to teach myself over time is how to have my framework, but to be lucid, to be fluid within that whole framework, to flow with the way the conversation is playing out. And that's really what adaptability is all about. And then we have the constructive engagement, and that's focusing on understanding and finding solutions instead of really letting conflicts escalate. Listening is one of the greatest things that you can do here. Empathizing is another. And look at, see if you can put yourself in the other person's shoes. Difficult to do when you're already in conflict, but if you can master that trait or that skill, state perhaps, not trait, then you're going to be in a great position to be able to resolve conflicts, right? So that could be a difficult conversation. It could be a conflict you're in. If you are in a conflict, then disagreements with if you approach it, the method in which you approach it is so critical, right? So if you go in with a collaborative mindset, aiming for mutually beneficial outcomes through whether it's negotiation, whether it's compromise, whether it's trying to build consensus, then you're going to have a higher probability that you're able to resolve the conflict quite quickly. All right, so these overall difficult conversations, one thing that we can keep in top of mind is that they're opportunities for us to learn and grow. So if we reflect on our experience as we go through these situations, whether it's a difficult conversation, whether it's a conflict, then we're going to come out the other side much better and a little bit more prepared for the next time. So being resilient in a conversation is essential for helping to foster that outcome, fostering that productive dialogue. It's essential for maintaining the relationship and achieving positive outcomes, even in challenging situations. So it helps you to navigate conflicts effectively, as well as preserve clarity and respect. All right, so that's my intro. Let's have a look at some actions that you could take to help you develop more resilience. Again, a long list. I don't want to go through the whole list. You can read it as well as I can, but there's some things that are repeating you'll maybe notice. Self-awareness, reflection, emotional intelligence, active listening, right? All of these things are foundational, whether we're talking about signature presence, whether we're talking about speaking with clarity and conciseness, whether we're talking about storytelling. These are all factors that are common across the road. Now, if we talk about how to be better in conflict resolutions, then training is often a good first step. You can do reading of books, you can attend workshops or courses, you can find opportunities to put yourself into practical situations where you can sort of develop your own strategies. We do a lot of programs around conflict resolution and including empathy within the conflict. So, that's an area that you could seek out and try and improve. Seeking feedback is another great one for becoming more resilient, because we have this inner fear, right? That when people are offering us feedback, they're going to tell us things that we don't want to know, that we don't want to hear. We think we're perfect. And when somebody comes along with an opinion that may shatter that perspective, or that inward bias belief, then that creates fear. We don't want to know about it. So learning how to seek feedback is a big step in itself. It is a form of communication, and it will really help you to learn how to deal with conflicts, difficult situations much better as well. Giving constructive feedback is something else that's really important. So if you learn how to give constructive feedback, which means it's not always pleasant, it's sometimes difficult, but if you learn how to do it succinctly, if you learn how to do it with proof points, I want to say, or validation, and you do it in a calm manner, then the way it gets received is valuable. Yeah. So some of the ways you can practice these things I'm talking about, you can do role plays, you can do simulations. All of these things help build trust and respect. Again, that's not the first time we've spoken about that. All of these things are part of continuous learning and adaptation. Again, not the first time we've spoken about that. I do want to just touch on reflection, because this is often where the aha moments come from. So this is one of my favorite areas when I'm coaching or mentoring other people, is to give them space and ask them just to pause and reflect on whatever it is that we're talking about at that time, and to think back over their experience, and then talk about the learning that comes out the other side. That's often the aha moment in that conversation. So learning how to do that is invaluable as well. All right. So there's a whole list there for your team. By taking deliberate actions, you can enhance your resilience in handling difficult conversations, in handling conflicts. You're going to become more productive as a leader. You're going to become more harmonious within the relationships with your team, with the organization, with your stakeholders. So hopefully that gives you something to start with. But let's have a look at a story. Again, real story, but using fictitious names, this time with Sarah and her journey towards building resilience. So Sarah was a senior project manager for a multinational corporation, and she needed to strengthen her resilience to handle some of the challenging discussions and conflicts more effectively. Now, if anyone of you, I'm a project manager. If any one of you know what it's like when you're a project manager, you know, I'll take myself off the screen here. Sorry, I just realized. You know that this is one of the more challenging environments to live in. You're normally in conflict, or you're at least normally having difficult conversations, whether it's with your own suppliers or your clients, whether it's over contract, whether it's over time, whatever it might be, quality. All right, so resilience here for her is absolutely paramount. She needs to learn how to be more resilient in leading her team and navigating complex dynamics or dynamic situations, right? So dynamic because every day is a new challenge, complex because of the area that she works in and the type of project she has to manage, um, extremely complex. So she needs to be more resilient so that she can cope better, all right, and stay effective. So she struggled a lot. She had very high profile, high stake meetings and negotiations. They were often heated. She felt overwhelmed, emotionally drained by the end of each day. It was hard for her to come out of these meetings and go and talk with her team and not take it out on her team. So, all of these factors, nothing new, I'm sure. So she really needed to learn how to get composure and stay effective, particularly when she was communicating under pressure. All right. And she didn't want to damage her relationships with her colleagues outside the projects. So, really important. So, when we sat together, we asked her to start by doing some self assessment and creating greater self awareness. She identified her strengths, her weaknesses, and gaps, those emotional triggers, which are the all important factors to work on. And then we got her to start seeking feedback from some of the people she trusted the most, her senior colleagues, some of her team, even some of her clients. Now, that's a big ask, I know, but it really helped in this situation. And then she started to recognize the importance of the emotional intelligence framework, right? And started developing the self-awareness, started to develop her regulation, started to develop how she reacted in those social environments, right? How to motivate others and lead with empathy. She even started mindfulness, which really helped her to manage her stress better and for her to get clarity herself on some of these challenging environments she was in. Right? We also asked her to start active listening. Now, anyone that's ever done active listening knows how difficult this is. This is a communication skill, make no mistake. Even though we say we speak with our mouth, we listen with our ears, listening is one of our communication skills. And to do it effectively takes a lot of practice. We did it through role plays, we did it through simulations, we did it with difficult conversations, we did it with friendly conversations, we did it with factual conversations versus emotionally driven conversations. We did it in a whole raft of different scenarios so that she could test how well she could listen in those changed environments. And then we asked her to demonstrate back and summarize, paraphrase, clarify the things she'd really heard, and even the things that she'd heard that weren't said. Now that's active listening at its best. So we practiced all those things. She learned various techniques for conflict resolution. We introduced just one model, which was the Thomas Kilmann conflict model. For conflict resolution, we introduced the IBR approach, the interest-based relational approach. These just two tools that gave her a broader understanding of herself as well as how she could manage the conflict better. We spoke with her about facilitating win-win solutions, not only areas of compromise. All right. We don't have the time to go into that today, but these are some of the things that we went into. Right. So she didn't stop there. She then sought out her own mentor within the company. And she turned to a seasoned leader who she'd known for a long time, who had taken a career path similar to that she was hoping to take. And she onboarded him as her mentor. And they had regular meetings. She sought his guidance on different things specific to her business. So impactful, right? Remember I said earlier, my own career, I've had 4, maybe 5, right at the moment I have 5 separate mentors, coaches, advisors that are there to support me. So powerful. All right. So over time, she became much, much better. She was able to maintain her composure, communicate effectively, even under the hardest, strictest pressures. Just to give you an example, I've not been in a hardcore meeting with Sarah, but I have been in many hardcore meetings on project sites with construction managers where they've not only thumped the table, but they've broken items on the table. They've been on the table screaming at people. These meetings get really intense. And if you're able to stay resilient, maintain that level of composure, speak clearly, concisely, then you're really on your A game. Right? And that's essentially what we were able to do with Sarah. Now, as a result of that, we can see the importance of resilience in building your leadership communication. All right? I hope. All right. So, with that said, let's wrap up this whole session, or at least the whole 4 topics. Some practical tips. Again, I'm not going to go deep into them. You can see them on the screen. There's a lot there. You know, a lot of these things we've spoken about before. So, the great takeaway for me in all of this is once you start to hone one of these skills, you can apply it across all of these different topics. Right? Take emotional intelligence, take empathy, take mindfulness, take self-awareness, take self-regulation, just under emotional intelligence, social skills. These fit across all of these topics. Right? Feedback, support networks, staying flexible. Incredible. Implementing these tips, right? Practicing them, putting them into your daily routines, forming habits are really going to help you. And in this case, in resilience, it's going to help you handle those difficult conversations much more effectively. It's going to lead to better outcomes and help you build those stronger relationships. All right? So that's it for resilience. I'm hopeful that these topics we've covered today, all right, let me bring myself back on, really have given you the icing on the cake of the last 3 months journey. Before we wrap up the 4 topics and start summarizing, let's just pause and put in practice what I just said about reflection. So what we normally do is we stop talking, we breathe. So we make sure our brain is oxygenated. If we need to, let's have a drink. And we step back from this topic. We step back from the topic of communication and we take a moment to reflect on that journey. Yeah. What are some of the key takeaways for you? What are some of the things that really had that aha moment that you can take away with you and put directly into practice? Have a think about it. Spend some time. Take some notes. It's such a critical juncture. Don't waste the opportunity. All right, let's summarize where we are. So what have we covered today? This is a very high level. I'm going to go through it quickly because time's against us, but we've shared a lot with you in this short masterclass. The question now for you, I guess, is now what? What will you do with this information? So what information we're talking about? Let's review very quickly. Storytelling and 4 core areas, or 8 core areas, if you like, of communication as a core strength. We've recapped that. You can get more details by going to our website, go to those links that I shared and find out more information. AI to help with clarity and conciseness. Tools that you can draw on that are not only going to give you more of an edge in the way you communicate, they're going to save you time. They're going to make you more efficient, more effective, easier to understand. Critical. Don't squander this opportunity, because if you do, you're going to get left behind. Then we moved into signature presence, and this is all about how you show up, your authentic self. And people want your authentic you. Now, of course, I do want to make a disclaimer here. If you're a narcissist, a Machiavellianist, or a psychopath, then please get out of here. You are not the leader that we're looking to engage with. These are for people who have a genuine interest of improving, and typically you are not one of them. All right? So your signature presence is not the type of signature presence that we have an interest in, and I'm sure your team has no interest in either. All right. Now, I've met a lot of those narcissists, sometimes psychopaths, in project meetings, and I've learned how to build my resilience. But resilience in conversations is really the icing on the cake. It is the crowning jewel, if you like, to be able to maintain your level of credibility, even in the face of danger. All right. So they're the things we've covered. Hopefully you've enjoyed that. I hope that this has sparked you to want to get more involved with us. If you do, coming up on the 17th of July, we have our first Thought Leader Forum. 17th of July, 8 p.m. Hong Kong, Singapore time. You can register. You can become a C4C thought leader yourself. You can get all the goodies that go with that. We'd love to have you join us. Why not become a Coaching for Companies thought leader? Come to the forum. As you can see, we have 3 amazing panel experts who are going to join us and answer the questions that we have for this topic. Each 2 months, every bi-monthly, we run a new forum and we have a new topic. For July, we're talking about workplace trauma. Where does that come from? In many instances, that comes from those narcissists that we don't want to be part of. So join the forum, join as a thought leader. It's free. There's goodies waiting for you. We hope to see you there. At the end of July, we're going to be running our next challenge. It's a 2-day challenge. Learn 2 key phases in achieving facilitation mastery. And as you may expect, in August, we have the Facilitation Mastery Mastermind. All right. And then, well, let me pause the then, because I was going to say then in September, you're probably going to guess what we're going to cover. So that's what's coming up in July. Now, in addition to that, as you probably know, if you know anything about Coaching for Companies, we offer an enormous amount of material, some free, some you have to pay for. Weekly podcasts, monthly live broadcasts, bi-monthly thought leaderships, brand new. Quarterly events such as this, the Masterclass, quarterly challenges such as the July challenge, quarterly masterminds such as the August mastermind. In addition to that, we have our ET Academy. So all of those, that top 2 lines, they all sit under our ET project group. Under the ET Academy, we then have, the masterminds are part of the academy. The masterclass are part of the project. Under the academy, we have the masterminds. We have 4 transformational talent development programs. Plus, we have a series of destination masterminds. They're by invite only, but they're not to be missed if you have that opportunity. We're active on different social media platforms. If you want to go to our website, learn more about us, there you can see it. Coaching for companies.com. We would love to have you join us. We would love to get you to come to one of our events. And if you've enjoyed this masterclass, then our next masterclass in September is all about strategic thinking and decision making. So on the back of facilitation mastery in July and August, we're going to move into strategic thinking and decision making, which forms a bit of a bridge to then what follows in October and November. All right, team, we hope that you've enjoyed what we've covered today. We've gone a little bit over time, so I apologize for that, but hopefully it was worthwhile. Hopefully you got a lot out of it. I look forward to connecting with you on the 17th of July for our first Coaching for Companies Thought Leaders Forum. We have 3 great panel experts joining us. Hope to see you then, and bye for now.
So what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button below and click on the bell icon so I can pop up in your feed occasionally with a great tip for your ultimate growth.